What Florida landlords should know about habitability laws. Florida's rental market continues to attract investors, homeowners, and long-term tenants, particularly in high-demand areas like Pinellas County. Yet, as rental demand grows, so does scrutiny of housing conditions. Habitability laws, which define the minimum standards a rental property must meet to be legally occupied, are a frequent source of confusion and dispute between landlords and tenants. Understanding these obligations is no longer optional. It is a foundational part of owning and operating residential rental property in Florida. Why habitability standards matter today. Habitability laws exist to ensure that rental housing is safe, sanitary, and livable. In practice, these rules protect tenants from unsafe conditions while providing landlords with a clear framework for maintenance responsibilities. In Pinellas County, where many rental homes are older coastal properties exposed to humidity, storms, and aging infrastructure, habitability issues arise more often than many landlords expect. Failure to meet these standards can lead to rent withholding, lease termination, legal claims, or costly enforcement actions. For landlords, habitability is not just a legal requirement, but a risk management issue. The legal foundation of habitability in Florida. Florida's Residential Landlord and Tenant Act establishes the baseline requirements for rental properties. Landlords are obligated to maintain the structure, roof, windows, doors, plumbing, electrical systems, heating, and sanitation in good repair. Properties must also meet applicable building, housing, and health codes. Unlike some states, Florida does not require landlords to provide air conditioning unless it is already installed or specified in the lease. However, if air conditioning is provided, it must be maintained in working order. This distinction is particularly relevant in Pinellas County, where air conditioning is often essential to safe living conditions due to heat and humidity. Essential services and utilities. Habitability extends beyond physical structure. Landlords must ensure access to running water, hot water, proper sewage disposal, and functional plumbing. Electrical systems must be safe and capable of supporting normal residential use. Interruptions to essential services, especially when caused by neglect rather than emergencies or natural disasters, can quickly escalate into habitability violations. In Florida's storm-prone regions, landlords are expected to respond promptly to post-storm damage that affects livability. Mold, moisture, and environmental concerns. Moisture-related issues are among the most common habitability complaints in coastal Florida. While Florida law does not contain a standalone mold statute, landlords are required to address conditions that materially affect health and safety. Persistent leaks, water intrusion, or unchecked humidity that leads to mold growth may qualify as habitability violations. In Pinellas County, where older buildings and high humidity are common, proactive maintenance and prompt repairs play a critical role in compliance. Tenant remedies when a property is not habitable. If a landlord fails to address serious habitability issues after proper written notice, tenants may have legal remedies. These can include withholding rent, terminating the lease, or pursuing legal action. Florida law outlines specific notice requirements and timelines that tenants must follow, which means landlords who respond promptly and document repairs often avoid escalation. Ignoring or delaying repairs is one of the fastest ways for a routine maintenance issue to become a legal dispute. Documentation and communication as protection. Clear documentation is a landlord's strongest defense. Maintenance logs, repair invoices, inspection reports, and written communication establish a record of compliance and responsiveness. Many professional property managers in Pinellas County now rely on digital maintenance systems to track issues and resolution timelines. Equally important is communication. Setting realistic expectations with tenants and providing updates during repairs can reduce complaints and build trust. Local market pressures and compliance. Pinellas County's competitive rental market places additional pressure on landlords to maintain habitable properties. Tenants today are more informed about their rights, and online reviews and complaints can impact a landlord's reputation. Properties that consistently meet habitability standards tend to experience lower turnover, fewer disputes, and more stable occupancy. Conclusion. Habitability laws are not abstract legal concepts. They shape day-to-day operations for Florida landlords and directly affect property value, tenant relationships, and financial performance. In markets like Pinellas County, where environmental factors and aging housing stock intersect, understanding and meeting habitability standards is essential. Landlords who approach habitability as a proactive responsibility rather than a reactive obligation are better positioned to protect their investments and operate within the law. Frequently asked questions. 1. Is a landlord required to provide air conditioning in Florida? Florida law does not require landlords to install air conditioning, but if it is provided or included in the lease, it must be maintained in working condition. 2. How quickly must a landlord make repairs related to habitability? Repairs must be made within a reasonable time frame after receiving proper written notice. The urgency depends on the severity of the issue and its impact on health and safety. 3. Can a tenant withhold rent if a property is not habitable? Yes, but only if the tenant follows Florida's legal notice requirements. Improper rent withholding can create legal risk for tenants, so documentation and timelines matter.